and Hell, Indiana, which are real towns. I'm making an anonymous alcoholic buzz movie. Uh, so if you have a car, you should when you get your lube. If you have a newer car and it's a rear wheel drive, ask your mechanic or an adult if it's or I mean somebody that you trust if you have a rear wheel drive, especially a truck or a van. You have to get there's a thing in the back called a deficiency or something like that. Deficiency. It's your suspension part of it, but it's only for rear wheel drive. And if you don't get them lubed every 25,000 miles, when you get to like 75,000 miles, it'll be junk and you can't fix that ring that's a lube. You have to get them fixed. I felt like a total moron when I learned about it, and I'm not lying. You know what I'm saying? Even if you only got 75,000 miles on your car and you were the only owner, if you don't get those deficiency things lubed every 25,000 miles, it's more important than an oil change or a radiator flush. More important every 25,000, because even if you're good to your car and 75,000 miles and you got rear-wheel drive, especially a truck, I just found out about it about a year ago, and like I'm saying, if you're good to your car or your truck or whatever, that deficiency thing is the bag. Just ask your mechanic, do a fact check and check it. And yeah, you can't lay in the streets and die in 10 minutes like a dog if the president asks you to or a policeman does. And not trying to be a brown noser, but stay out of trouble, because when you get in trouble, it hurts. I mean, not to be a brown noser, but trouble hurts, so don't get in trouble, because you can't lay down the streets and die in 10 minutes like a trained dog if the government tells you to. Not to be a brown noser, but yeah. Don't listen to Lester Maholter and love each other and love yourselves unless you know what you're doing. And second of all, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. If you're in a big city, don't play in dumpsters, because some cities, a lot of them, they crush them, and once you're in them, you can't get out. And some cities, they light the dumpsters on fire nowadays. It's a new thing. They light the dumpsters on fire, and you can see flames, the garbage company, and they incinerate it in 7 minutes, and if you're in there, they're going to incinerate you. And some cities, they crush them and you can't get out. Dead baby dogs or people or babies, they crush them and you can't. When you're in the back of that dumpster and they're carrying it away, in a lot of cities, I've seen it happen in the news and stuff. If you're in that dumpster, whether you're a baby dog, a baby person, or a man or a woman, no matter how big you are, and they're driving that dumpster away and they're crushing you in the back of the back of the garbage truck, and you're screaming for your life, they crush you anyway every like quarter of a mile, and you can scream all you want. They're in the back of the truck. They can't hear you screaming, and they crush it every mile and a half. Yes, and what else was I going to say? I know it takes two to get a car loan, but a co-signer especially. But if you go to a lot of big car lots, if you live or you know where a big car lot is, if you go there in the car lot, they usually have trade-ins on hand. And they're taking them to another place and souping them up to sell them. If you go to that big city, that big car lot, they always have a bunch already, and they're getting ready to sell them to another dealer to soup them up, to resell them, or do something with them. And if you have cash money on hand at like $4,000, you can look through them, and if you have a test drive, if you know an adult that can do it, you can get one of those for $4,000. Or if not, I mean, not to let the kitty out of the old makeup bag here, but if you have cash money, just go buy one cash money, which if you're good, and save your money in like $9,000 for a normal economized, good, dependable car is $8,000 to $9,000. And you don't have to murder your friends or family to get a co-signer. I'm not to be a jerk, but my life is over, and I'm not going to murder my family members or somebody's spouse just to get a car. You can think your way out of a sesame seed a bun drug test. And what else was I going to say? Oh, yeah, and don't expect to lay in the street and die in 10 minutes like somebody tells you to, because you can't really. You'll just be another day at the hospital. And other than that, I'm going to wham, bam, 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 Black Betty, bam, lamb, later. Back to Deadly Bon Jovi that always incinerates me.